So we define the circles informations, and then we define the polygon information. We define our geometry information, boundary, and also we define the style information, and we define also the pop-up information. And after that, when all defined, we just simply we overlay together. All the overlay files need to be condensed here. So the overlay files is properly designed, but I will discuss this later, more part of the overlay systems. So the JSON file you can also add is here for all the overlays, calling the layer layers, and then control, scaling, and then and so on and so forth. Everything is perfect. After that, some part of the implementation, and then you can build the applications, some calling that part. So what we did, we defined the cycle geometry. Each of the cycle geometry, it has a pop-ups. How can you add the maps that we already discussed, and how can you add the overlap all the information into the UVS maps, mean OpenStreet maps or Google Maps or Yahoo Maps, doesn't matter which map you need to be focused into the your focus point of the project that we are discussed here, and this need to be fixed in the next versions how it will be done. So that's the most part we did, just like how can create the point line polygon at the moment. So how can you create the circles and polygons, and how can you add those circles and polygons into the maps, and also how can you add the pop-up information, the tabular form information into those things as like pop-up. That's I discussed. So let's continue the developments, how it is done, how it is need to be handled, and I will continue the part of development. So that means we have all the information, these are all the points we have plotted properly, and then we have plotted our polygon information, and then we also plotted our circle information. So it is designed here. So you see maybe we can also minimize this one. So we have circle information, so we define the orbital information, we define the coordinates points. So let's see the pop-up, the circle pop-up, just we label it like 1, 2, 8, 9, 10, 10. Label it so it has names, but it has a pop-up is properly what we are expecting. So it has all the circle information, it is their name is there, so it has name information, what we need, what we define. So then we have the functionalities like how can you overlap, how can you pop up the switching the maps, the OpenStreet maps or Yahoo Maps or Google Maps, and all the possibility that you have it. So we have all the movie that we discussed. You can see you can also distribute the traffic information. We can have some example like here, like I don't know, some example somewhere. Traffic informations. I think so. Somewhere we have traffic information for these bridges. We can also present those information, traffic information. So how it is done. So we will do together how the programming is going to be done. So we got the idea how can we start the project, how can we build the general Angular projects, and how can we start the components into the projects, how can we run the Angular projects, and also how can we integrate the maps from the open layers or OpenStreet maps or Google Maps or Yahoo Maps, and also how can you add the alternative possibility which open layers map libraries you try to use it, like Google Maps, Google Maps APIs or Leaflet APIs or open layers APIs, depending. But it is the same structure, same way to do. But depending your project structure, what you require. For this case, requirement was the leaflet, but maybe the next projects will be the requirement with open layers, maybe another projects, the combination of both sides. Then you need to be transformation, handle all the processing with the open layer and leaflet combinations. Or we have in the requirements, maybe Google Maps, you need to put it the Google Map also there. So that's the thing you need to be handled. That I already discussed. So you got the clear idea how can you handle, how can you build such applications in the proper way, proper manner. So we also discussed in the movie part that I will discuss. We can also add the movies and so on and so forth. Everything is left. So you see all the the program is, we already program it, what we are expecting, the Asian highway network communications, and also we already program it like the neighbor countries, and then Nepal, Bhutan, and so on and so forth. So all the connectivity, how the traffic is look like. So this is the traffic study project. So you see the neighbor countries, the zoom in, zoom out functionalities. So, so neighbor countries, so it's neighbor countries, the plotted, how is the transportation, the communications, and also how it is our geospatial data set, our GeoServer service calls, how efficient it is, how it is handled. Then we will discuss a bit more detail about the project structure. So now I can say bye bye, goodbye. Just follow the channels and try to subscribe the channel, write down your comments, your ideas, how can you build such applications as a professional level, not the hello world level, as a really professional level. How can you handle those things together? Yes, I mean, this is the professional structure, this is the professional way, and then also this is the really, it's not the beginners projects, those are beginners, please Google it, understand the structure, the GIS and web GIS programming with the understanding of the Angular, Node, or React, for understanding this very simple JavaScript and CSS, HTML, and that's help you really a lot for the development. Otherwise, it's really hard because there's a lot of technology behind the scene in the project structure. If you think really if you think is the like is not a like is not how can say if you think that it's not is a complex structure, but I say to you, it's really in the professional life there will be the more complex applications, maybe more complex processing. But if you got those ideas, those concepts, and how you can handle those complexity, how can you build those projects, and how can you properly structure these projects? That's the main idea when you work as a professional life. Otherwise, it's hard. It's really hard to handle, to process those things to the applications, and then so on and so forth. So it's up to you. You may make a plan to start very simple HTML, CSS programming, then start with the JavaScript programming, and then start to the programming with the Angular or React, depending which web framework you are using, at least because I already have all the possibility, and then you start to program it to understand the different map libraries like Google Map libraries or OpenStreet map, OpenLayers map libraries or Leaflet map libraries or other map libraries, or Yahoo map libraries or Bitmap map libraries, depending how it is used and how it is handled to your projects. So when you done those things, then you combine your decision. How can you make a really professional example, professional application, software application to communicate all other geo data sets like GeoServer or Map Server, depending how it is communicating, or PostGIS database, or other geo service provider like the JSON file provider or JSON file provider. You just call the GeoJSON file, build your geo application. That's the possibility you have to do, you have to think about. So that means you need to be basic understanding to process it, to HTML processing. You need to be basic understanding the geometries like point, line, polygons, and those geometries. How can you build your features with these geometries? And also your movies or your images. That's I already show you the how can you process the images also. Uh, uh, so you see the images also, you can also handle those images into the project structure. Maybe you have a construction site, you need to present the images also. That's the thing that you need to make plans and structure it, program it, and so I believe it's really help you to really work the professional example. Just follow the very beginning level, the end level. I believe it will help you. and end of the day, I will put it into my source into the